I was going to ask you, what was wrestling like for you, man, when you started? Because we talked about it a little bit, but like, you said you used to play hockey, right? Yeah. And then you made that transition to wrestling.
And there was a little bit of overlap, but wrestling was kind of the reason I stopped playing hockey. So I played hockey was the first sport I really fell in love with.
Yeah.
As a little kid, I had tried all the sports. My parents were like, well, yeah, you should try everything here. Yeah. And so I liked a lot of sports, but a lot of sports I didn't like doing at a competitive level, but hockey was the one that I liked doing at a competitive level. And so I learned how to skate kind of simultaneously as soon as I learned how to walk, then I was learning how to skate. And it's because my brother played hockey. My dad enjoyed hockey, but he never played hockey growing up. But yeah, my brother was playing hockey, so of course wanted to be like him, and then played hockey all the way into high school. And middle school is when I started wrestling. That one, my dad wrestled in high school, and that's why I wanted to wrestle as well, and showed me the movie Vision Quest, and of course fell in love with it there. So
absolutely, and dating older women.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
You young ones, get away from me.
Get away from me.
I want full-grown women. Isn't it funny though? When you're a kid, you always admire the older chicks. At least for me, you go to the pool in the summer. Okay. And the older chicks, they've developed, and you're like, oh man, but they don't have any time for you.
No,
none at all. And then you're like, oh, okay, never mind. I can give up on this.
Yeah. Well, and especially
not a chance.
A kid, when you're starting to have those thoughts and feelings, you're like, oh wow, and then that person's like, oh, get out of here, kid. You're like,
That's why The Sandlot's such a great movie.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? When he gets the older, what's it, Pepper,
lifeguard, right?
Pepper something?
Oh, I don't remember the name. Yeah.
Oh, never mind. I'm not that obsessed with it, dude. Chill out.
I think more just, I don't remember it that well. Yeah, I haven't seen The Sandlot enough times. That's one of those that I have seen every few years.
Yeah.
And I don't remember any of the characters, except Smalls, just because of the line.
Smalls.
You're killing me, Smalls. Yeah.
And yeah.
Didn't remember yeah.
He just always says yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you want to go there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Smalls. Yeah, dude. Wrestling is crazy, man. Do you find a crossover with wrestling and acting?
Not a direct cross, other than the work ethic, I guess, and the preparedness.
Right.
I think anything you need to be a certain level of prepared, and the more prepared you are, the more confident you are in it.
Yeah.
Which leading back to the dream, you're not prepared, but somehow you still have that confidence that you can be prepared. But I guess that is the biggest correlation for me with acting and wrestling, is just the more prepared you are for that match, for that opponent. Same thing with acting. The more prepared you are for that role, for that performance, the better it's going to go usually. Yeah.
Yeah, it tends to be I thought about this, you're never really completely prepared for a match, ever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You just show up. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You go to practice 5 days a week. You might have a tournament on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I always remember the very first tournament of the season. And it's we would always do at least a 3 to 5 match dual tournament, right? Where you're wrestling 3 or 4 or 5 times in in one day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was always so stressed because you're not really wrestling matches before that.
Mm-hmm.
You're just practicing in the gym, and
you're just running through the drills.
Yeah, you think you're in good shape, you're getting a little better, but you haven't wrestled matches yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you show up to that tournament, and you're kind of just I'm going to see how good my cardio is?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And then you just do it, and you're like, oh, okay, so that's where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
And then you practice for the next week, and then you have a tournament, and you're like, oh, okay, I feel like I'm kind of pacing myself a little better. And then you practice 5 days a week, and then the next weekend you got another tournament, and it's the same thing. It's you're reevaluating your status, your cardio, or your match savviness every tournament.
Mm-hmm.
But all you really, it's you can't really do anything but just show up to practice.
Yeah.
And then have faith that you'll kind of figure something out with your matches. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel always with that specific, like the first tournament, dual tournament, whichever it was, I always had the moment of like in practice, I wasn't really scared to like make a mistake or something, because it was like, all right, we'll go through and like, oh, I made a mistake there, got pinned by the wrestling partner here, whatever. And then when the match time would come, that first match, I was like, oh, wait a minute, I can't just like make a mistake here. Like I can't like give up on the drill here. Yeah. Whereas like sometimes in practice, like you would be going through a drill so many times, and then at like, you're like, all right, this guy's gonna do. You make a mistake, and then you're like, all right, I'll just kind of get pinned here, go to the next drill type of thing.
Yeah.
Get lazy a little bit in practice just because you're like, all right, we've done this hundreds of times at this point. Whereas, in a
I'll give him this one.
Exactly. In a match, I would just get so nervous because I was like, well, wait a minute, I can't
make mistakes.
I can't make mistakes. I got to be like spot on here. And then you realize how like you've never wrestled this guy you're about to wrestle, and you're like, wait a minute, I have no idea what his game is. I have no idea what he's going to do and stuff. So, yeah, that moment always came by of, you really have not prepared for this specific thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.